Just real quickly to some of that material, Stone Dock grocery store. I don't care if you're a private chain or whatever. Again, you have to register every position you have here. Once you generally know how many people you have to add, you have to have. That's the number of positions, because you wouldn't hire more than that. And if you would do that, the first thing you have to do is apply to Indeed.com. We're not going to make you do a bunch of shit. It's just you fill out the form that I need a new position, and then you give it a certain heading, clerk, somebody that runs groceries out to the car. I don't care. General position, that's what's added in there, because that's what you would be generally adding to the newspaper article that you would do, or something under that format. And again, this is locally by region over the entire state. That's broken down by miles away from the company. You do get into something like small businesses where, at the insurance level, when you go to sign on to be a real insurance, because you can't have employees legally without having some level of insurance, that this is where you first base, how many positions you have. I didn't know that I was going to have an employee base, so I have to go to insurance to register this, to have a new employee, which I think you would do in either case. And there needs to be some level of connection at that thing if you're going to add into a new position, to hold that position there, whether there's a person in there or not, to just format it. And that's when immediately it would just go right to Indeed.com. To the hold, there's somebody in that position, this is who that person is right now. It's negligible information. It's just more of an X over the position until there's an opening for it. And when that opening comes in, somebody quits, you fire somebody, termination, what have you, you have to call that company in. Otherwise you're just filling out paperwork anyways, probably, about, why did you terminate this person? It's just an extra little tiny box that you have to put onto there when you go to send it in or make a phone call after the fact. It's not very difficult in terms of what you would have to design to do this. And again, we're taking that idea that, there's a one-person company, they start to expand from that small business to hire on people, and you build from zero. Or you have a large company that has an understanding of today's terms of what it is. This is the universe as we know, and we're starting to mathematically break that down. This is how many positions you are. This is the job titles they're expected to do at an average system. We're not talking about their raises or their pays. We're just talking about what they're expected to do. So when I go through a key term check, the CNC operating, that these skills relay not only to a secondary platform, to the mileages around the place, but again, like Indeed.com, where you say everything in that region will come up, or operating. First, the operating procedure, I need a CNC operator, I need a forklift operator, and you can, again, by key terms, make that more specific. We're just using that system. I don't care. I'm at this level of president. I'm not going to pay you, Pat, and Indeed.com. Thank you very much. Taking your country over. Be glad that people still use this, because it is a free system anyways. For the given region or the system anyways, and it's not the governmental format program that needs to be based. Again, you could do away with a lot. Again, if Monster's doing this for free, Indeed's doing this for free, in several different jobs, or a company has the opportunity to only use one format through here, we're kind of missing the point from the state need or a federal need of what's happening. And again, this you shouldn't have to go through some obscure system that you may or may not know the name of because of some marketing on TV, or through some program that only you're going to find through probation or jail. This should be something you should easily be able to walk into your town or village clerk, and they'd be able to go to this building, or very easily fill out this form, or go on this computer app and be done with it. And then it gets shipped off where appropriate. If later on, if that's that town need, and it becomes so much of a problem, obviously this is a building. If not to that, and it's not that big, you would hire on somebody into this company, and by state needs, or you pay that by state taxes to work in that town position to only do that. or whatever other extra jobs that they can do for the town, and divvy up the pay system. This is actually a function that's benefiting the town and it's benefiting the state. So divvy the load to what work you're doing based on a pretty simple algorithm. It's not super complicated or rocket science. It was just sloppy. You wind up writing the same thing 20 different times for different applications. Some are printout, some are I.M.A or internet where it's based on a resume, and then from Indeed.com I can't go into what is that? I just got one from Wendy's here pretty recently. Unless I copy that out from PDF or something like that. And again, especially from straight up probation, sit down, fill this shit out, get it done with. You don't have anything right now. Let's knock it out. The probation officer doesn't even say, you just say you're at this, tell me when you're done. Done. Because it's just a computer app, web page. New York State I.M.A. That's not what it is. Pretty straightforward stuff. I believe it could be cleaned up a lot better, the same number of positions that you hold, because I don't want to take out the guy's job. He was a nice guy, that helped me out there. A lot of secretaries in there. I'm sure they're doing something applicable to the position where I would follow through later, make the phone calls for him. Hey, you guys checking in on this guy? These are the person I come in. They're under my name. I'm therefore responsible for them at this point to actually benefit them. They did come to me. This is a larger job operation in a town like Delhi or Binghamton, where these things can kind of come up. They didn't just do this on their own. They're really advocate to come into a place like this and have somebody already pre-look at them, because again, later on when we do a video log application, a video resume of like, tell me what you did at this, that, or the other. Just go through the work history, pretty much read this out, because you do get some important, a lot of jobs. You got 20 people applying to the same job with resumes by terms that are really similar. Sometimes it's really hard to pick out one guy, and this is why I picked the best guy for the job. This is what I was looking for. Got the right attitude, got the right look, kind of the thing I expect to do, kind of a situation. But again, that guy's position would be, here's a guy kind of really good for your company. Check out his resume on I.M.A.com. Jordan Scoville. I gave him a look over. Pretty cool guy. Listened, filled out all the secret tests in the application process correctly. Kind of what you're looking for, because at the end of the day, you just can't hire anybody. You got to hire the right person for the job, and I absolutely believe in that. But here's the thing, Senate Bill, whatever, Hancock, New York State, there's not difficult stuff to reference. It's just like any invention premise or web design, code language. These are the terms in the proper order of the calculation of the frames and smaller quantum mechanics that need to be necessary here. Why these haven't been done yet is ridiculous. Again, some kid that studies some basic computer programming from high school or web design could easily design what this needs to be. Not very difficult at all. Where it does become a little bit difficult is when you want to get a more specialized system. Here's somebody that doesn't just do the general filler or general model of it. They actually come in to fill in their actual application or their actual resume for a very specific job topic: operating, truck driving, logging, what have you. That's what kind of experience you have, and you got a bunch of job references. All of them are going to spell the same thing out, depending on the size of that company. There's a maximum when you say logging. Obviously, there's saws, there's machinery. How many different types of machinery can you operate? How many different types of saws did you operate? Because again, a saw is a saw, but given different things, this one may not have had that button, and the format layout of that saw would have been completely different. There might be one that's more appropriate to what you were doing, and if you can lay that stuff out on schematic, it just makes you a better applicant to become a manager for that company later. And if I can get you in the rookie's position, great. That's where you got to start. That's what it is. You want the job, that's what it is. It might give you a couple of dollars more at the door because you have more experience. It's basically the standard writer, but a more in-depth application. What I want from skills, CNC machine, operating fork truck, to I come into the company, this is what this was, I did time charts, micron checks, I started the company, I did this, this, and this. Well, those are actually formats just like an order form or something like that for a CNC machine, and be able to print one of those out for the company or be able to read one out. To be able to do that, to program the CNC machine, is what managers do in terms of somebody who's just operating the machine once it's already programmed. And there is a higher class of the caliber. You have to be more in depth to the language, the smaller groups, and again, that's going to be mathematics, psychology, if you will. But kind of the thing you need to do. Like I said, it was just a little. The first thing you go through is Indeed.com, and you're at the workforce. I'm not really so kosher on this. This should be something by the state standard that it's not an option. You must apply your hole in the position. If you want to go through what's a local around you and put that in a local newspaper to pay into that, that's great. You can definitely choose them first come, first served when you're ready to hire them. But this is not an option. Has to be the way of this. Those companies don't rule this standard. The state need is always better, or is always larger. The force is always greater than the resistance here. And Aristotle and physics, common sense physics. When you're a governing system, general relativity, you have to be larger than the common forces. With that being said, I'm just beating a dead horse with it. It's something I've said a million times before, and again, I've pretty much said it's an 8th grader's term paper. It's what this turns out to be, and why we have state applicants, for positions in this that haven't referenced this as legislation yet is ridiculous. Again, then you sub it out. I want to make an augmentation to Senate bill, whatever, to have a desk in, a one computer desk for what the probation officer does just for this computer, or to help them fill it out when they're there for a probation checkout, especially there in the beginning. Let's knock those 2 or 3 big ones that are out there a couple hours long. Do the initial paperwork, fill out your Indeed.com. If you got a computer at home, you don't have to do it here. Great. I'll be checking in on it. Some of those things I'd be saying. Just reading it over to make sure that it is everything that I, as a probation officer, could make sure it could be, to make sure you do get hired. And it's a simple readout. Just like going to court or doing some of those other things. I don't want to overload them on the other hand, because there are a lot of job positions specifically doing this. Where, it boggles my mind a little bit to understand why this hasn't been done to clean up this mess. It's your Senate position, it's your, DA position, it's a lot of things that it can be that are just falling short in the system, that are already pre-designed, they're just not governed. Nobody took control over it in terms of the system and said, alright, now we're going to not just make it all this hodgy-podgy mess. This is the way it's got to be. That's what it's missing. Again, we're not really touching on people. Indeeds.com's free. Those websites wind up shutting down. But the volume in terms of what they should be dealing with, in terms of the hub when this gets taken over, I'm a government, we're changing your name, because that's basically all that's really happening here. You're going to keep all the same people on staff that you have staff. Probably not many, because I'm sure it's all mostly automated, once it was designed. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Monster.com may not like a lot of this. I don't understand how they would collect a profit from this anyways, directly. Like you hire on so many people through this, or they signed out, the boss of the company says, well, yeah, I went through that, and how do I even know that they hired them from that? That doesn't directly correlate. So I don't understand how that could create a stock percentage or anything like that. If it is, it's pretty much fucking bullshit. Of why their growth and development, other than a state system anyways, smaller hubs, it's just crazy. Shouldn't be happening. If it was a state program, it needs to be a state program. and it's a nice way to break it down state by state, county for county regions. Usually the state oversees everything that all the counties would reference to just break it down. Catch you on the next one.